Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. I am John Clark, and the Birds, they love playing the Giants on Thursday Night Football. Eagles have won 7 straight against the Giants and 11 of 12. So let's bring in Mike Quick and Ike Reese. And Mike, I'm going to start with you. Carson Wentz got beaten and battered by the Ravens, but he put up 22 points in the fourth quarter. That's the most he's had in the fourth quarter. I know there's a lot of injuries, Mike Quick, but what did you see from Carson, and how can he take it into this game?
I thought he was so impressive, especially when you look at the number of times he was hit and put on his back. To have that performance in the fourth quarter, I thought he was spectacular. He played so well, and that's what you need from the quarterback. In the post-game interview, he talked about how his guys played. Well, the guys played well because he played so well in the fourth quarter.
All right, well, we know there's a lot of injuries right now. It could be Carson Wentz and Jason Kelce. They could be the only starters. The Birds are down to their 13th projected offensive lineman. Everybody hurts. Remember that song, Ike Reese? Well, could we see more of Jalen Hurts because of that?
Well, I certainly hope so. I mean, because of where this roster stands right now, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, you need all the able bodies you can find. And Jalen Hurts is a fantastic athlete. We know he's a quarterback that's still in training, learning that position. But right now, he has a skill set that this offense can use. I mean, you saw it last Sunday versus the Ravens. It wasn't really until Jalen Hurts was inserted into the game that it gave the offense a little bit of a spark and got them jump-started. So I certainly would expect to see more of Jalen Hurts. And quite frankly, I would line him up at wide receiver in the slot if I needed to. I would line him up in the wildcat formation and let him play running back or quarterback. They need all the able bodies they can find, and Jalen Hurts is a fantastic athlete that they can use on offense.
The Giants are 1-5, but everybody's in this division race. With more on the Giants, here's Enemy Intel with Greg Cosell.
The Philadelphia Eagles offense, coming off a pretty strong performance against a very tough Baltimore Ravens defense, now gets the New York Giants in a short week. And this Giants defense, while certainly not one of the best in the league, they're pretty multiple and they're not that easy to play against. Keep in mind, Joe Judge, their head coach, and Patrick Graham, their defensive coordinator, they come from the Bill Belichick School of Defense. And what that means is you're going to see a lot of multiple front looks with a lot of different people in different alignments. And that's something that the Eagles' offensive line will have to be aware of. And remember, it's a short week of film study. Now, this is a team that plays a lot of zone coverage, but when they do play man, the number one man coverage that they play is what we call two-man coverage, where it's man-to-man across the board and 2 deep safeties. Now, last week against the Washington football team, in a critical moment on 3rd and long, they were able to play two-man really effectively, and you can see that here. This is just the way you want to play it. You see the 2 deep safeties, and you see man-to-man across the board, and they're in their sub-dime with 6 defensive backs, and they play that a lot on 3rd down. This is really well done. But there's another element to this. I mentioned what they do up front, that they're multiple. Now, they're not a high percentage blitz team, but they'll do some things with stunts up front. And here you see that part of this two-man coverage. What they do is they go with what we call a TE stunt. But the tackle portion of the stunt, the picker on this play is linebacker Blake Martinez. And Kyler Fackrell, he's the looper here, and he's going to sack Allen, the quarterback for Washington. And this turns into a touchdown for the Giants. So what you see here is what the Giants are defensively. Multiple with their fronts, some stunts, and they play two-man coverage as one of their main foundations. In fact, they're close to the top of the league in playing that particular coverage. So two-man, that is a coverage that the Philadelphia Eagles will have to defeat to have a good offensive performance against the New York Giants.
All right, we've got some two-man coverage right here. We got Mike Quick and Ike Reese back with us. And Mike Quick is a former great receiver in the NFL, a Pro Bowl receiver. When you play two-man coverage, play against that as a receiver, how can you beat that?
Well, receivers should get really excited about it. It's man coverage. You got a safety over the top, but You got to beat a man. And the thing that the Eagles will do, they'll run their bunch sets, they'll run their picks, they'll run their rubs, that mesh concept where they can get one guy to work off of another guy just to free him up. And they're really good at those rub and those mesh concepts, John.
And Mike, last year the Eagles saw the Giants defensive coordinator Patrick Graham when he was with the Dolphins. And when you're on a short week like this, don't have a lot of preparation time, how important is that familiarity that they faced him last year?
Well, that's what coaches will reference. They'll look back and look at the way the coach played them in the last time that they faced them. And if you look at this play, John, it's a 3-by-1 set, and they'll motion to a 2-by-2 set. And Greg referenced it already. He talked about the fronts and these exotic fronts that they're going to see. And on both sides, you'll see that mesh concept. You'll see those guys trying to pick for one another. And this time, Alshon Jeffrey breaks free down the left sideline, and that's where Carson chooses to go with the football, and he fits it in just before the safety can get there. That's going to be the perfect way to defeat the two-man coverage of the New York Giants.
And Ike Reese, we saw this Eagles team decimated by injuries last year, and they beat the Giants. So that could be the offense we're seeing again. And you saw Carson this past Sunday once again, off-schedule throws and on the run out of the pocket. How many throws he made. Do you want to see more of that, allowing Carson to use his legs and extend plays outside the pocket?
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know my mantra, let the Bronco buck, man. He is at his best when he can beat off schedule, when he has an opportunity to extend plays. And I think it allows for the wide receivers to become open as well. I mean, Carson is one of the more accurate quarterbacks outside of the pocket in the NFL. And that's really why they were able to do what they did in the fourth quarter against the Ravens. A lot of those plays were all script and really just heart, determination, and really just savvy at the quarterback position being displayed by Carson Wentz.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, your new official soft drink of your Philadelphia Eagles. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Pick up your Eagles Fast Play ticket today. All right, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan. Of course, the Eagles coming off a tough, close loss to the Ravens. And Ike Reese, Lamar Jackson coming into this game, you talked about containing him. And for the first time this year, he had over 100 yards rushing. We saw that 37-yard touchdown that he had. That was a backbreaker. How do you think the Eagles defense did against him?
Well, it was an up and down day for the Eagles defense against Lamar Jackson. I mean, there were some things early in the game where they converted on third down, third and long, that you would like to see the Eagles get off the field. Defensively, you certainly want to see them improve in the red zone area. But there were some good things they did against Lamar Jackson. And make no mistake about it, defending a guy like Lamar Jackson who can beat you with his arm and his legs is not an easy thing to do. He's going to make some plays throughout the course of the day, but you have to make some plays against him as well. And I thought the Eagles defense settled down after about the first few drives, and they did some nice things against Lamar Jackson.
And you talked about containing him, not let him get outside the pocket, kind of contain him to be a passer. Do you think they did well with that?
Yeah, that's one of the best things I thought they did Sunday, John and Mike, is on the off-schedule runs, meaning that when it's a designed pass play and then he decides to take off, that's where he can normally hurt you at. But if you watch this play here, I think the Eagles did a fantastic job. They're in cover one with a robber, Rodney McLeod, in the middle of the field, so they got man coverage across the board. And so you're going to have to be able to lock your guys down to give your defensive line an opportunity to get to Lamar Jackson. You watch here, the pocket breaks down, but here's what I like where the Eagles defensive front did a nice job on Lamar. We talked last week about being able to contain him. Don't let him get outside. Malik Jackson, who I thought would be pivotal in this game, does a nice job of coming from the outside in. So either he's going to make the tackle or he's forcing him back to the defensive pursuit. This is a classic example of how you have to play Lamar Jackson so that he doesn't beat you with the off-schedule run plays. He made a few plays in the run game with designed runs, but I thought for the most part, there were no off-schedule runs that hurt the Eagles Sunday. And it was due to disciplined rushing lanes up front from the defensive line.
Yeah, the Eagles defense had their eyes on Lamar Jackson Sunday. In this game against the Giants, they're going to have to watch out for Darius Slayton, not Darius Slay, Darius Slayton. With more on him, here's Enemy Intel with Greg Cosell.
This week, and it's a short week for the Philadelphia Eagles defense, they're playing against a New York Giants offense that quite honestly has struggled throughout the first part of this season. It's a team that does not run the ball with any great consistency. It's a team that has really struggled to throw the ball. Their offensive line has not done a very good job in pass protection, and Daniel Jones, the quarterback, who does have some very good traits, has really struggled in the pocket. Too much pressure, and then he starts to perceive and anticipate pressure, which is very common for quarterbacks that are constantly under duress. But the Giants do have some weapons, and one in particular the Eagles are well aware of, and that's Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton can beat you catching the short ball and taking it to the house, or he can get over the top of your defense. He's the player that the Eagles must really be concerned about. You cannot let him beat you with the long touchdown. And the Giants will orchestrate some shot plays to try to get him the ball down the field. Now here's Slayton against the Pittsburgh Steelers. As Eagles fans know, one of the best defenses in the league. Here Slayton is split wide in a 13 personnel package, 3 tight ends to the closed side of the formation. So what the Giants are setting up here is they want Slayton to work one-on-one against the corner with really no one to help. Because what you'll see with this route concept is that the post safety will jump the intermediate crosser. So what you get here with Slayton, he works one-on-one on the deep post against Steven Nelson, and he really runs a detailed, nuanced route. This is really good work by Slayton. And here, with time in the pocket, Daniel Jones makes a really good throw. Now what's important in this matchup is the Eagles cannot give Jones time to throw. Jones does throw a beautiful ball, but he's been under such duress that he's not been able to function with any consistency. And that's an area in this game where the Eagles definitely have the advantage. Their defensive line against the Giants' offensive line. They cannot let Darius Slayton create big plays in the passing game.
Yeah, Darius Slayton, he's the only Giant who's caught touchdown passes from Daniel Jones this year. So, Ike Reese, when you're defending him, what do you have to watch out for with Darius Slayton?
Well, you have to know that Daniel Jones is going to get his fair share of targets thrown at Darius Slayton. That's his favorite wide receiver. He's the best receiver on this Giants team. And the thing that's hurt the Eagles in the past when facing Slayton has been the double moves. He's a guy that's going to set you up. He runs great routes, and he's going to hit you with that slant and go or the hitch and go. So if you're the Eagles cornerbacks, you have to certainly be aggressive, but you have to be smart with your aggressive play on Darius Slayton because they're looking to hit you with the big play over the top.
And against the Ravens, Mike Quick, we saw Nickel Roby-Coleman play that outside corner spot. Jalen Mills moved back to safety. Will Parks mixing in there. What are you seeing from the secondary now?
I think they want to get used to that 3-man rotation with those safeties. And, when they go big nickel and they've got 3 safeties on the field, I think they like that combination. They know that at some point they're going to get Avonte Maddox back on the outside. And, Jim Schwartz likes these positionless players. You hear him say that stuff, John? Positionless players. In the passing game, if they've got 3 big safeties on the field, it's much better than having a linebacker because you get more versatility and you get better pass coverage.
And Ike Reese, the Giants really not that great at running the ball. They're really not good at anything. And Daniel Jones has been sacked a lot. Is this a game where the Eagles' defensive line can really get after the quarterback here?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, this is a game that, when the Eagles have faced a somewhat inferior offensive line, they've pretty much been able to dominate the game up front. We saw what they did against Cincinnati. We saw what they did against San Francisco. Daniel Jones is also a quarterback that will hold the football, not confident in where he wants to throw it. So when you have a depleted offensive line in front of him protecting him, and you couple that with the fact that he'll hold on to the ball, this could be a big night for Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat. Those guys can get after Daniel Jones in the passing game.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. And against the Giants, it's going to be running back by committee for the Eagles. They're going to miss Miles Sanders. But how about that second straight 74-yard run by Miles against the Ravens? To break it down, here's our own Fran Duffy with some tape study presented by Chickies and Peeps.
Well, this week here on Tape Study presented by Chickies and Pete's, I wanted to just take a deep dive and look at one big play from last week's game against Baltimore. And in this play, we're going to see the long run by Miles Sanders that results in a touchdown by J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, a fumble recovery in the end zone. And really, there are 4 players that I want to watch here on this play. First off is the guy who scores the touchdown, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Obviously, the guy who has the long run there in Miles Sanders in the backfield. We're also going to look at center Jason Kelce, and then lastly, the backup quarterback, Jalen Hurts. And we're going to start this discussion with Hurts. He has been really fun to watch as the offensive staff has gotten very creative with his usage over the last month and change, because we have seen Jalen Hurts as a runner, we've seen him as a thrower, we've seen him as a pass catcher, we've seen him as a decoy. Here on this play, that's exactly what he's doing, is all he's going to do is run this orbit motion. Now, the efficiency with which Jalen Hurts has been used has been really fun, because anytime he's been on the field, half of those snaps have resulted in either a first down or a touchdown for the Eagles offense. And that is a credit not just to Jalen Hurts, but also to the offensive coaching staff's creativity. I mentioned all the different ways that he was used. Here on this play, I mentioned this orbit motion is just meant to be eye candy for the defense, because you're trying to get these defenders at the second and third level to try and take steps in this direction with that motion, because this run by Miles Sanders is meant to go over here. So if you can get that defense to flow one way, all they need is 1 or 2 steps to go before you get the offense going the opposite way. Now you can set up some blocks, and that's exactly what happens here in this play. I want you to watch Jalen Hurts and just watch these 2 defenders, the corner and the safety for Baltimore on that side. As he begins to make his orbit motion in that direction, you're going to watch the corner and the safety both kind of flow that way, right? So we can take a look and see what that does for Jason Kelce, who he just finished on a double team block here on this side. He is now going to work his way up to the second level. Watch Jason Kelce, and again, he's just kind of in search and destroy mode at this point. He's got to decide which of these targets am I going to go. And look at where those defenders were looking. You got the safety, he's still looking in the backfield, looking at Jalen Hurts. The corner on that side, he is beginning to see, oh, this ball's actually going the other way, and he's starting to work his way back. But it's an easy block now for Jason Kelce because of that motion. So Kelce's in search and destroy mode, as I mentioned. He gets his guy on the ground. Outstanding block. Let's just bring it back to the beginning here. Miles Sanders, he does an outstanding job kind of picking his way through the traffic here on this zone carry, and he does a nice job of just being decisive. And that's something we've seen from Miles Sanders in the past. We see that game-breaking speed as he takes off down the left sideline for a huge play. But I'm going to bring it back one more time before we see the ball cross the goal line here. And I want you to watch J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. He is on the backside of this play. Again, it's from the 19-yard line. He is on the backside. Watch the effort here from Arcega-Whiteside. We saw him be one of the lead blockers for the long touchdown in Week 5 against Pittsburgh. We see the same thing here against Baltimore. He is going stride for stride with Marcus Peters. I remember seeing a play just like this from J.J. Arcega-Whiteside when I studied him at Stanford. He was a game against their rival, USC. He's helping get Bryce Love down the left sideline. He was a Heisman finalist that year. We talked about that play on the Journey to the Draft podcast, driven by AAA. That was a great play by Arcega-Whiteside on that one in Stanford. I thought of that play as soon as I saw this on Sunday against Baltimore. He does a great job, shows great competitiveness there, not just as a blocker, but then he's able to pounce on the ball in the end zone. Could have been a turnover. He helps bail out Miles Sanders there with a touchdown. Awesome job by all 4 of these guys. Jalen Hurts, the offensive staff, usage of Jalen Hurts, but then you also get the block from Kelce, the run from Sanders, the blocking and the finish by Arcega-Whiteside helped put a touchdown on the board for this Eagles offense.
All right, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. And the Giants are a team that offensively is scoring less than 17 points a game. Only the Jets are worse, not just in New York, but in the NFL. And Doug Peterson, he's Mr. Thursday Night. 5-0 on Thursday Night Football. So enjoy the game. Eagles are only a half game out of first place. And check out the kickoff show on PhiladelphiaEagles.com. Thanks for watching Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. Pepsi, your new official soft drink of your Philadelphia Eagles. and by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Pick up your Eagles Fast Play ticket today.